What's up, people? It's Alexander Scope on this one. Just felt like talking about it. Improving speaking skills. So obviously, I can be quick to enunciate. That said, however, as I've said before, Periscopes, me doing these, it's practice for myself since I'm talking. I'm talking and I get to hear what I sound like and I get to see myself as I speak, and then I can, modify and adjust based upon my own feedback in that way. Improving your speaking skill. That said, there are some obvious pitfalls that people run into with speaking, and they don't necessarily realize it, the way they undermine themselves. And one of the biggest ones, saying and a lot. I had a young gentleman that I mentor, and I was talking to him the other day. I know that in his speech patterns where we were speaking on the phone, and any pause break in conversation that he had, he wouldn't stop talking, so to speak. He would just say, So he'd be saying something, and then, and he was not a dumb guy. But it was just for the fact that he was nervous, perhaps. And then at the same time, no one had likely ever pointed that out to him. Often enough, people don't get told that. It's always an amazing thing where, not so amazing. Most people go through their education now and they never get instructed on something like logic and oration, elocution. That gets missed out. So they develop a way of speaking that is ineffective relative to probably what they want to get from reality and their life at large. How do you get better at speaking? It's not so hard. You have to just be consciously aware of it while you're doing it, and if you converse with people on a daily basis, well, there's your chance. In my case, as I've pointed out before, I had a career, still do, I have a career now where I've been a personal trainer for, going on will be a decade next year. That's been tens of thousands of conversations that I had. In the beginning, I was not so good at talking. It took some work, and having conversations where you're trying to be persuasive and sell people and teach people. There's obviously a learning curve to that, but over so many years, I got better and got better and got better. And at this stage, speaking is something I'm very comfortable with. If you're a young cat, how can you improve your talking skills now? Listen to how you talk. Reading aloud can be very effective. Watching yourself speak in the mirror can be very effective. For people that use their eyebrows a lot, where some people have almost a, how might you say, they have an overly expressive face that can make them comical in a way, where they're not always taken seriously. But that can be something that's easy to modify by watching, and then you learn how to keep your face somewhat still. You learn how to talk with your eyes and your mouth more. Watching actors even can be a way to improve speaking skills. Someone like Anthony Hopkins or Jeremy Irons, they're two of my favorite actors. I've seen them in a fair amount of films. Jeremy Irons in particular, classic Shakespearean trained. You watch him speak, he's a very powerful and effective speaker. He's very persuasive. He has a gravitas to how he speaks. All his words are very precisely said. It's very memorable. He's very memorable to watch. People like how he talks, and obviously his career is a testament to that. But there's lots of ways, and it starts with just the self-awareness, as I always like to point out. Are you aware of how you sound? Are you listening to yourself? Or are you speaking without thinking? If you're speaking without thinking, then nothing changes, but that goes for anything. Everything starts with, all improvement starts in life with the first order awareness of whatever it is that you're wanting to improve. If you're not aware of it, if you can't see it, if you cannot hear it, you don't think about it, nothing's going to get better. Speaking, I think, is the easiest thing to improve, or one of the easiest anyways, simply because you can do it aloud to yourself anytime. It's always available to you. It's very much like health in that fashion. How do you start getting healthy? You can start getting healthier by how you breathe. Just being aware of your breathing. How can you improve your speaking? You can talk to yourself aloud in the mirror, in your car. You can do what I'm doing right now. You get to hear what you sound like, and then you can improve what you speak like to make that very poorly rhyme. So that's all, people. Just wanted to throw that out there for you. As I like to say, everything is trainable. You just have to find the way to train it. This looks like a good spot. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks. You're welcome. I'm going to switch out my shoes. If you got questions, ask questions. In classical education, which is no longer done in the West at all, speaking, like I said, public speaking, oration would be something that you have studied. To what extent can reading help with communication skills? But reading helps immensely. People that are very well read, if you read a lot of books, typically speaking, you are going to have a more expansive vocabulary, and not that you're going to be a master orator, but you will certainly be ahead of the curve, since you'll be able to express yourself better because you have, as I said, you've got a broader array of words to draw upon. Do I do Wim Hof breathing? No, I was into breathing before being into breathing was cool, to say it that way. Public speaking courses would be worthwhile. I've never done it before, so this is secondhand. But the Dale Carnegie public speaking course, I've heard very, very, very good things about. I plan on doing it at some point in the future, but it's just something on the agenda. I would say that's worthwhile. I have known people that have done it, and they testified that it dramatically improved their skill set with speaking, and it helped them get over the fear. Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, a lot of people are just afraid to talk. You don't think you talk to me? I have no idea who you are. Do you try to improve your vocabulary consistently? I don't know that I try to improve it. I read a lot, so I have a vocabulary. I took acting classes to get over my public speaking fear. That can work too. Acting classes, actually, I have done acting classes as part of my, I guess, arts education. That's very fun to do. That certainly will help you be less conscientious about being judged by people. How about using a lot of metaphors while speaking? What of it? Yeah, you can do that. But using metaphors is being able to tell a story. I tend to be a bit more technical when I talk to, make these things more clear in a way that is, very highly verbal. Metaphors make for compelling storytelling, though. So, can you sing a song for us? No. I don't sing. I do not sing. OMG, I couldn't date a guy who died. Okay. Not really sure what your point is of being on this Periscope, but whatever. Both. Have you identified any improvements in your speaking you need to do? I say a lot, which is very common. A lot of people do that. It'll be on whatever tangent, whatever line, whatever subject, that gets thrown in. Almost everybody has those interjections when they talk, when they speak. It could be saying it could be saying it could be saying That goes for, as I catch myself, that goes for almost everybody. So what do? You just slow down how you talking. Silence is golden. You'll always, your perception, your rate of perception as you speak, it is always ahead of the way that you think people are hearing it. People will say a lot. Is very common in California. So what was the point I was getting at? You don't talk nearly as slow as you think you talk, or sometimes nearly as fast. Oftentimes people will want to keep talking because they perceive it as people are listening and they need to fill space with words. But silence, something like that, to me that can feel very long. But my time frame of perception has shifted because I'm the one talking. The listener, it just makes for a more compelling, more easy to understand dialogue. Anything else, folks? I think this was a fairly clear subject. I don't use metaphors or analogies too much when I speak because I want people to actually internalize what I'm saying and process it not on the subject of metaphor, but for what it really is. Whenever I talk, I have to think of the next word. What should I do? That's just experience. That's inexperience, I should say. If you don't talk much and you've never talked much to people and you don't have any experience public speaking, you could consider this public speaking in a way. You're really going to be thinking hard about what you're going to say next. When you have a lot of experience talking to others, you don't necessarily say, when you have a lot of experience talking to people, you are not thinking about every single word you're going to say. I feel that crafting the message to your speaking audience is very underrated speaking. Yeah, you have to know who you're talking to. In this case, I really don't know who I'm talking to. It's it is whomever hops on these periscopes. And it can be a ride, obviously, for those of you guys who listen frequently. Sometimes we get wacky characters on these. But obviously, if you're in front of an audience and you know who the audience is and they are generic, you're speaking to a group of women who are between the ages of 30 and 40. You're speaking to a group of professionals. In my case, the people I worked with, I had clients that, they had a range of professions, range of ages, so I always altered my speaking style. I altered the way I communicated to suit who I was talking to. Preparedness, I found, is most important. What's most important to you? What's most important is that you speak authentically. I don't prepare before I talk, ever. I've had clients where I had to change the way I speak, the way I communicate for 10 people in a row, and each person's different. I've never been of the mindset where I need to have, a long, how should I say, preparation period. It's kind of to very roughly quote Taleb. The professors that need time to prepare a lecture, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. If you really know a subject truly in depth and you are an expert on it, you don't need to take hours and you don't need to take that much time to, what am I going to say? You know what you're going to say because you know it. I guess that comes with experience. It does. It's a testament to experience. If you're a theoretical expert or you are speaking on something that you don't really know, you're probably going to need some time to prepare because you need to sound like you know what you're talking about. If it's something that you are well versed in, or if nothing else, you're a fast learner and can pick it up with aptitude, give me 5 minutes at most. How can I be more aware when I'm speaking loudly? You have to be able to hear yourself talk. I lose track. That's being able to hear yourself talk. I can hear every word I'm saying right now. So I am somewhat ahead of my speaking. At the same time as I am speaking. In a way, you are doing two things at once. How important is breath and breathing patterns in terms of projection and tonality? Highly. You guys listen to me often, some of you. I can change the tonality of words based upon how I breathe and say them. So you need to be able to breathe effectively. If you're one of those people where you start talking really fast and you get how your words in, I've had friends like that where they talk so fast that they have to pause literally just to intake a breath. They deplete themselves with oxygen. So part of speaking is the entrainment of the breathing pattern where you can talk at length and you don't fatigue, you don't get tired, you're not doing the pant, you're not hyperventilating. That also comes with practice. Is breathing important? Breathing is important for everything. The question is almost obtuse in that regard. As I like to say, if you don't breathe, you die. So that tells you, I think, the relative importance of it. How do you breathe effectively? I've trained my breathing for years. I've been physically fit for years. I started working out when I was 15, so my cardiovascular stamina training capacity in that regard is pretty well developed. It's not something I have to think about at this point. Yeah, there's trained and there's untrained. Which one do you want to be? To spin it differently, perhaps. A lot of the questions sometimes you guys have on these subjects, how do you do this, how do you do that? You train it, and then you go from the stages of expertise or the stages of mastery. You're unconsciously incompetent. You don't even realize how bad you are. Then you're consciously incompetent, and you do realize how bad you are. Then you're consciously incompetent. Unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence. Then you're consciously competent, where you get to the level where you are better at it, but you have to think about it. And then you get to unconscious competence, where you have internalized the habit of doing it. You are now good at it without thinking about it. And then that is when you can say that you are trained. And that's where you want to be. In the beginning, though, yeah, you're going to have to think about it, for sure. All right, guys, I got to go. Good talk. Talk to y'all again. Adios.